Emperor Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. So, Emperor Nolan has made a new movie.
And we must go, but I don't like it at all.
What do they have planned? What do they have planned?
Brooklyn Community Theater presents My Fair Odyssey.
This movie is a big-budget retelling of Homer's epic poem, The Odyssey. Big stars, big production value, interesting concept design, long-ass running time, and as the kids say, no riz. No energy, no personality, no charisma. This is not a good movie. It is the best community theater experience I may have ever had in my life. And it looks like it was cast in someplace like Brooklyn, which is fine. I don't care. It could work. One of the most famous theater productions of all time was Orson Welles and John Houseman's production of Macbeth, set in Haiti. But the Brooklyn casting, experimental retelling, whatever you want to call it to help you sleep at night, you culture warriors, you, those for and against, that ain't the problem. The problem is threefold. A trident, if you will. Bad performances, terrible dialogue, and a mishandled first act that, like all botched first acts, kept this turkey from getting off the ground. Credit where credit is due, this movie nearly redeems itself in the third act, and a strong bid it made to turn my opinion ship around cause it had set sail for bad review land long before we got out of the first act. By the way, this is an ancient Greek epic poem with many film and stage adaptations, so there are no spoilers. You should have done your homework. 1. The acting. I am 100% convinced that Nolan gave zero direction to the actors. The performances are so mind-numbingly wooden. Say what you will about The Room, at least Wiseau brought some emotion.
What a story, Mark.
Now, performance issues take two to tango. The director and the actor. The actor performs how they see the character, and the director is either cool with it or offers guidance for tweaking it. Or fires the actor and recasts, like what Coppola did in Apocalypse Now, firing Harvey Keitel and replacing him with Martin Sheen. In The Odyssey, there are no signs of performance continuity. It is wildly all over the place. Even Corky St. Clair got his actors on the same page.
And within about 6 months, I had formed the Blaine Community Players.
Now, I don't want to paint with a broad brush because there are some noteworthy performances here, mostly from experienced actors who know how to dance, so to speak. I'll start with Samantha Morton, and what a pleasure it was to see her working again. Charlize Theron, Robert Pattinson, Johnny Legs Leguizamo, whom I really didn't think of as a great actor, but I'm reassessing that opinion now. These actors and a few others saw the leeway afforded them and crafted performances that helped keep this lilting vessel from completely capsizing.
Say, that reminds me.
He forgot to hit subscribe. Hey fella, you forgot to hit subscribe. 2. The dialogue.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
It was either expository, on the nose, or amateurish. The dialogue is atrocious. Do we have enough provisions? Just keep the bear to the right. I will fight with honor. These were cringe-inducing lines, and I thought the sword and sandal epics of the 50s and 60s were bad.
Great, merciful, blood-stained gods! Your pardon. I always address heaven in moments of triumph.
And to be fair to Nolan, this is not an easy undertaking. It's just that characterization and dialogue are not his strengths. It's one thing to write up your own little story where you can make everything up as you see fit. It's another to adapt an historical epic that's under a ton of scrutiny and has been adapted many times before. In fact, a recent version, The Return, puts this one to shame. You can't just do whatever you want in an adaptation. There are some guardrails you have to respect. Having to adapt an ancient story while updating it for the contemporary audience while maintaining some degree of distance from our own time. A patina of antiquity, if you will. It was generally done in the past by casting British actors as the establishment authority figures and Americans as the underclass. It's a trope called the Queen's Latin. It was employed by films like Julius Caesar, Land of the Pharaohs, Braveheart, and Spartacus. Nolan opted to forego this reliable strategy, and I get it, it's been done. But it seems as though he put nothing in its place. They simply filmed the cold read, and at one point in the story, Odysseus says, "We need food, badly." Is this a joke? Is this a reference to the Gauntlet?
Wizard needs food, badly.
I nearly burst out laughing in the theater. Best scene, the dead talk back. I'm no fan of who's the Juno actor, Elliot Page. I don't care for this actor, but damn, they brought some actual emotion, some actual acting to the show. Credit where credit is due, Melon Farmer, and this actor turned in a good performance. See, I'll piss off the conservatives and the liberals. Because you're looking at this with your culture war goggles on. You're not looking at this objectively. I am, because I want a good movie, and when the movie fails, I'm gonna point that out.
Sorry, not sorry.
Along with James Remar, he was great, barely recognized him. But great to see Ajax in this Greek epic.
shove that bat up your ass and turn you into a popsicle.
See, there were some good performances. And Lupita Nyong'o wasn't bad. I just didn't care at that point. Forget about it, Jake. It's
Brooklyn Community Theater.
3. The first act. These first two issues, the dialogue and the performances, don't help the first act, but they're not the only problems here. The pacing is rushed and uneven. The setting up of the world, of the situation, is a problem. It's not done clearly, nor, and this is important for filmmakers, convincingly. You have to draw me into this world, draw me into your story. It's often referred to as the opening hook, and this film doesn't even have one. It starts in neutral, with a house in turmoil as it hosts suitors for a queen pining for her long overdue husband. This is a complex situation, as one would think. As the leader of the kingdom, people couldn't just show up and overstay their welcome in your castle. Understandably, in the story and presumably in ancient reality, to some degree they could. So this is a precarious balancing act that the film has to undertake to show a strong castle that must endure these louts who've overstayed their welcome. And it tells us this over and over, which is boring. We should be shown this, and even better, it should be in a dynamic opening hook that draws us into the major theme and basic premise of the show. And because we're not drawn in immediately, emotionally, I could care less when Damon talks about going to war with Troy because trade routes, blah blah blah. Kinda sounds like trade embargoes of the Phantom Menace. In this film, the first act is muddled, over-reliant on exposition, and is boring. Yes, I've read the Odyssey. I'm not talking about Homer's epic poem. I'm critiquing Emperor Christopher Nolan's recent adaptation, and
Sorry, not sorry.
the Emperor has no clothes. Now, random thoughts and miscellanea from this epic raga. Batamemnon did not have the visual impact Nolan expected it would. I could see what he was going for, but it just looked too staged. Isn't he a badass? Why? It was Odysseus' plan that got them inside. And if you've been trying for 10 years to conquer these people with no success, you kinda look like a chump. Not to mention the fact that his armor looks stiffer than Keaton's Batman getup, and he looks like he'd tip over if he actually had to move to defend himself. The scene when Odysseus is asked, "Why do you thumb your bow?" "I will fight with honor." God, what a painful line. At this point it hit me. Damon doesn't have the presence for this. He's a good actor, but acting ability is one thing, presence is another. I think Damon is a better actor than Gerard Butler, but boy did Butler have the presence for King Leonidas in 300. He growled, spat, and chewed up the furniture like Charlton Heston pining for an Oscar. But you knew who was in charge. I'll give Damon this. It seemed very Boston Towny when he shot the arrow back at the Cyclops when he didn't need to, after they had already escaped. But he thought, "Take that, you bastard. Oh geez, here he comes. Gotta catch that one bus back to Southie." Another thing, why the difference in helmets? They don't just have vastly different styles, they look like they're from vastly different time periods. Oh wait, it's
Brooklyn Community Theater presents.
And the use of Travis Scott was a dud, a nothing burger. Who cares? Didn't add anything, wasn't really in the story long enough to detract anything. I said it in my other video, it's like the line from the novel Notes on a Scandal, said by Judi Dench's character in the film adaptation. The upper class are possessed with a mythology of themselves as being street smart. That's why Nolan put this guy in his movie. He's down, man. He's not square. Yes, upper class rich British dude, please instruct me on rap music and American black culture from your well-appointed yacht. Give me a break. The whole rap is modern storytelling line, people were talking about that 40 years ago, dude. You're not the groundbreaker you think you are. And that can be applied to all forms of music, by the way. Why did he pick rap? 'Cause he wants to seem down, man. He's hip. He's with it. Reminds me of that Kids in the Hall sketch. He's cool. He's hip. He's 45. You can't be an upper-class elite and have street cred. Just make peace with it, dude, and be happy you don't have to live the life and the struggles the rest of us do. And why didn't you pick a rapper with integrity, like KRS-One or Chuck D? No. Instead, you pick some trash Kanye knockoff who raps about hedonism, materialism, and misogyny.
My fucking hero.
You know what? Maybe he's not the rapper we need, but the rapper we deserve.
Well, maybe you just shouldn't bring me every little piece of trash you happen to pick up. Will you excuse me? I need to take this.
This was like a low-budget version of a traditional grand theatrical film.
Brooklyn Community Theater presents.
There was some cool stuff in the film. The Cyclops design was cool, it was different. Cersei's kitchen of body horror was well done. And of course, the cinematography and locations, there are a lot of positives there, which you'd expect from a Nolan film with a big budget. Although, apparently parts of the film were shot in a part of Morocco that is being suppressed from realizing its independence. Gotta watch that. Can't be lecturing people when you yourself are guilty. But that aside, the film nearly redeems itself in the third act. Odysseus realizes that he actually doesn't want to go home. He suffers the trauma of war, and he's not seeing Athena, he sees the vision of a young woman killed by his troops. And the god-awful law of Zeus they won't shut up about finally shows its relevance as Odysseus realizes that the law he held dearly, he himself has violated. Although one could make the argument that he and his troops weren't invited into the homes of the Trojans, they went there to conquer. So they technically weren't guests. But it was a poignant take on the story to show Odysseus coming to terms with the horrors and realities of war. Did people pick up on that? And its relevance to today? We'll see. Ultimately, all of Nolan's flaws and some of his talents were on display here, and this will be a film people will want to watch again and again as long as they have their phones there to watch it with them. But if that's the case, what difference does it make what you watch while you're doom scrolling? Seems like a violation of Zeus's law of the theater. Put the phone down and pay attention to the movie. Thanks for clicking in.
And I wondered why Einstein would want to talk to a gorilla. So I grabbed the gorilla and I beat it out of him. You give me a big guy every time they break easy, not like you.